In this month's video, I basically took a DPM model and dressed it up. I went from the cream color that it had always been and added some nice colors of blue to it, painted the windowsills, some of the concrete work I accented by painting it, and then giving it a few details of some signs. I was going to make this a bicycle shop because, well, one of my other passions besides model railroading is being out bicycling. And I had a student in my class kind of give me this idea and said, "Hey, do you have a bicycle shop on your model railroad?" And I thought, you know what? I don't. And so I looked up some 1950s era signs for Schwinn and called my building Ben Bikin Bike Shop. In this photo, I'm adding the window glazing. There's nothing worse than having a building that looks hollow inside, so I always add just some acetone window glazing. You get that nice reflective finish to your windows, just as if there was glass there. So to get rid of some of that hollowness from the building, I bought this cardstock many years ago. It's just a small little tablet from Michaels. Hobby Lobby also sells them. And essentially I cut them into strips, and they're going to be my window coverings in the background. Some are just plain colored, but you can also find some that have some designs to them. So depending on your scale, you can obviously pick around. A tablet like this I've had as probably 10 years, and when I'm only using little strips at a time, will probably last me a lifetime. So once I have the window glazing in and glued and dried, I'll just come back and I dab the top of my window blinds with a little glue, and then I just lay them right in the position I want. Some of the windows might appear open, some of the windows might appear that the shades are drawn. Gives it some real variety, so I'm really not too particular on how the windows go in, just as long as no glue covers the windows and that the window blinds or window coverings are in the right position. Since this building will not have any kind of interior or be able to see inside the windows, I usually just come back and write over my window coverings where the window blinds haven't covered the rest of the windows. I just put in black cardstock. Just kind of deadens the look of the building and gets rid of that hollow, like you can see through the building look. So at this point I was pretty happy with how the building looked. I ordered some detail parts to it that I did not have on hand and moved to basically the base. Where this building is going to go on my layout is kind of in an awkward place, so I thought it'd be easier to start cutting a styrene base to put it under. The base was nothing fancy. I used a piece of scrap styrene I had in place and trimmed it off that would fit kind of the triangular area I would have for the layout. For the sidewalks, I had some laser cut sidewalks that was just scrap leftovers from another project. Just glued those directly onto the styrene. Once the glue was dry, then I'd come back and paint those. To dress up the back of the building, my family had gotten me this Woodland Scenics figures of a basketball game going on, and I wanted to incorporate it somewhere on my layout, and up until this point really had no place to put it. And I thought, hey, you know, the back of this building is pretty blank. This would be a great spot to give it some action, like a basketball game just going on. So at this point I was pretty happy with how the building fit on the foundation, the sidewalk in front, the basketball players in the back, and I had my detail parts finally arrive in the mail. So now it was time to start dressing up this model even a little more. With the sidewalk painted, I decided, hey, I had this detail part of a mailbox. What a great place and location to put it on. With a scene like this, I knew I couldn't have much vegetation. So when I set the building down, I kind of dabbed a few spots where some possible static grass could go and just put in little tufts of static grass. And then also added the addition of a lamppost for obviously the street lights at night, and then put in a park bench with a couple sitting there that might represent them waiting for a bus or just kind of maybe waiting outside while their child might be inside dreaming of bicycle items they would love to buy. Because that's what I would do if I was a kid. I do not have night lighting on my layout, but I certainly want to add those things that we would see, such as street lamppost or lights over the billboard sign, like this one here on the side of the bike building. And also, the basketball players will need a light where they're playing. However, I'm afraid they'll probably end up breaking the light bulb out and it may never be replaced again. So I'm about halfway through the build here, and I like to take a photo just to see how it looks so far. And I'm figuring, hey, you know, the pickup truck looks really neat to the side, but this is a bicycle shop. There needs to be bicycles around it. So the pickup truck, it's gone, and bicycles need to fill the area. So looking at the items I ordered, Woodland Scenics bicyclists, gold medal model bicycles, and InstaFence, I figured these were detail parts that needed to still be added to complete the scene. In this scene, I added the Woodland Scenics bicyclists and their figures, and also the gold medal model bike rack that's up against the building. At the same time, I laid out the InstaFence around the perimeter of the back of the building lot of where the fencing would go. After installing the fence around the perimeter of the building, I decided it was time to paint the gold medal model bicycles. I bent the sprue that they were on and sprayed the whole thing black, and then after it had dried, went back with a micro brush and a variety of different colors to paint the bicycles while they're still on the sprue. When the bicycles are taken off the sprue, obviously they're quite small. It is recommended that you can give it some 3D dimension by taking some small tweezers, twisting the handlebars at 90 degrees, and also taking the pedals and just giving them that bend down motion so it looks like they are sticking out from the sides that somebody could hop on and just pedal away. Because these bicycles are thinner than the Woodland Scenics, they do glue and fit into the bike rack quite well, so I put several bikes in the bike rack to represent that. In addition, I added a bike to the front of the building as if somebody had just set it along the side of the store to go inside and shop. I purposely left one of the bicycles on the sprue that I painted them on, thinking it would make a really great addition as a sign in front of the building, kind of stating, this is a bicycle store, and maybe in time I can find a small sign to hang below that bicycle. So I hope you've enjoyed this on how I've kind of dressed up a DPM model that has sat on my layout for about 7 years with nothing done to it. I'm real happy with how it turned out. I do want to go back and add some vegetation along the fence line, maybe a few low profile trees between the building and the backdrop and the building next to it. But overall, this building has taken on some new life in what was just basically a void of a building sitting there with really nothing happening to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for watching, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, I would certainly encourage you to do so. So take care, and thank you for watching.